Goodness sakes alive. March 20th, 2026, 2:03 a.m. And I found another video about the 10's from the dreams and everything in Columbus, Ohio and all that. This was also the video about the weird glitching and the weird news story that said that there was an American held for espionage in Russia and was going to spend 20 years in jail. And it was never a story that ever happened, that ever aired, which was weird, but it was like it showed a story on the CBS Evening News before it even came out. It was really weird. But anyway, now I found sort of Mandela effect, a Bible Mandela effect. So check this out. So in 2019, there's a Bible verse that I talk about here, and I read it, and then they also sang a song about it at church, and it was Genesis 3:15. Listen to this. They identified the body that they found in the river. At the 3:15, you want to hear something about the 3:15? You ready for this? This is unbelievable too. So, I looked into it. And I went to Genesis 3:15, and it was about the serpent. I was crushing the serpent's head with our foot. And when I went to church, I decided to record one of the songs that they were singing at church. And they were singing a song, and it had, let me see if I can show it to you. I might be able to, no, I can't show it to you because I'm on here. I'm going to put it up. But in the song, it says that something about crushing the serpent's head. And I was like, wow, there's the Genesis 3:15 at church. How about that? How about that? So now if you look in Genesis 3:15, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed, it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. So now it's bruise instead of crush. And then this was something weird, too, that was happening. This was like almost to the day. I mean, I don't know exact days that it happened, but 1 year before the lockdowns in 2020. But here was it was really hard for me to get it right because it was just like flashing and it was glitching. And this was when all the outages were happening. And this was during the Tennessee-Iowa game, which the whole thing was all crazy. And there was a blackout, but it was a blackout with Dish Network. Dish Network was having a problem. It wasn't CBS. But they had in the background, before the CBS Evening News came out that night, that there was an American held and was facing 20 years for espionage in Russia. But this story never ever happened. And even when they had the news on that night, it never happened. Supposedly they didn't have the news because of the tournament. And because this game wound up going into overtime and it ran too long. So they never had it. But then this story never ever happened. So it was really weird. What? So I just put in the search, what in the world? So January 3rd, this Paul Wheeland was held. And check this out. Trial begins for former U.S. Marine accused of espionage in Russia. And look at the date. March 24th, 2020. It was exact to the day 1 year later. And this was right around the same time. Wow. So I did find it. So there was something, but there was no story on that day. Except for a year later. Ain't that odd? What is happening? So check it out. There's the lockdowns in 2020 began. And if you look also, the stay-at-home orders
began March 15th to March 30th, which is right in the same range, exactly a year later from the March Madness 2019 and all the dreams that God gave me. All right, I don't know. I'm just going to end it here. That's there's a lot in there, and I'm starting to get really tired. Thanks for watching. God bless.